forward. We are really looking forward, and I am here to welcome in this session as a chairman. So on behalf of college, I welcome Mr. Sushil Barkur. He is expert in creating and executing result-oriented L&D, TM, and OD strategies to support overall business strategy and business growth. He has 20 years of learning experience, and he has proven expertise in setting up and running training, learning and development department in large size pharmaceutical companies. Currently, he is working as Associate Vice President L&D, TM and OD function for Alkem Laboratories. He received top 100 training and development minds at the recently conducted World HRD Congress. He is adept in using technology in learning and development space. At the same time, he has trained and coached people across Indian subcontinent and Africa. He is passionate about enabling people to excel in their personal as well as professional life. Sushil Barkur is an MPharm, PG CHRM, ICF certified coach, certified psychometrician, certified accelerated learning designer and facilitator, certified in Dr. Jack Phillips ROI model for L&D, certified facilitator for 7 habits of highly effective people, neuro-linguistic practitioner, master practitioner from American Board of NLP. At the same time, he is also a member of International Association of Facilitator, that is IAF, and Association of Talent Development, ATD. So with this brief introduction, we'll start today's morning session, and I welcome Mr. Sushil Barkur, and we are looking forward to have a great session. Thank you and welcome, sir. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Vaibhav Sindhe and all the August gathering who is present here today's session. Thank you so much for the nice introduction, Dr. Vaibhav. And may I request all the people who are present over here, at least switch on the camera so that at least some kind of energy should transfer. Maybe not face to face, but virtually it should take place. So what happens that as a speaker, I will also get some energy, and I can also easily understand that some kind of rapport and the connection starts happening. And so I'm Sushil Barkur, as as the chairperson Dr. Vaibhav has introduced. And before I start this emotional intelligence topic, I'm sure that this is not a new topic, correct, which you are listening. You all are academicians, isn't it? And you understand that what is the importance of emotions in your day-to-day profession. And I have picked up this topic because when I was talking to Dr. Hemant said that this is something which has been an initiative from National Education Policy, where they are talking about creating a holistic development of the faculty members. So then I shared with him, you see a lot many academic work you guys are doing and contributing to the overall development of science as a subject, and especially the pharmaceutical sciences, that the new researches, new innovation, the new PhD work, thesis and other things which you're bringing is really doing a great work to the society and creating an curious mind among the students, correct, so that they can become the future of India in this particular space. But however, what happens when so much focus is on the academic aspect, somewhere we start actually forgetting about the emotional aspect of well-being. Maybe that many attempts we as a faculty member also get bogged down by too much of pressure which is on us. It is not only that taking classes, maybe that dealing with the parents, because parents also come with a lot of, you can say, questions to you, that what is the future and the career of pharmacy if my son is getting into this. Now, after I am formed, correct, shall I allow him to do PhD or not? So those kind of questions also keep on coming in front of us. So I just share with him that I feel like that this topic is going to help a lot to the faculty member. And that is why I have chosen this topic. with this small setting of context, right, I would like to now share my screen so that we can start speaking about. But before we initiate, may I ask the august gathering of the audience, if on the chat window, if you could type in that what is your expectation from this session, so that will actually help me uh, to take the discussion forward in that manner, because I believe not in that one way of you can say communication, but if there is some kind of interaction which will start happening, then it will help us a lot to carry forward in the session. So any expectation from the session, because this topic I am sure is not new. You guys are reading a lot of books apart from your academic aspect also. Yeah, I have just got one chat from Pune College of Pharmacy, that management of emotions. Lovely, lovely. This is one thing correct that which we are going to discuss. In another minute, if we can, if I can get some more, you can say expectations.
Either you can type in the chat box or you unmute and directly interact with the
Yeah, no
speaker.
problem. Yeah, no problem.
So it will be just when you directly interacting, so it is a just one-to-one interaction.
Right. So Dr. Santosh has written that balancing emotions with profession, how to handle work pressure. Lovely. Smooth sailing through challenging times. Dr. Ketki has mentioned there. Great. Another 30 seconds. Importance of EQ. Good. Misuse of emotion. Nitin, you have brought certain interesting aspect here. Correct. I will touch upon that as well. Yeah. So thank you very much for responding on the chat window. Correct. I could see that there are 4-5 things are there. And I'm sure that during the discussion, I will be able to bring in those aspects here. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah, sure. So once again, welcome to all of you. And the topic is emotional intelligence for faculty member. And you see that IQ and EQ, right? IQ, we are more, you can say, inclined, because since in the academic times, since our presence in the academic, people talk a lot about that intelligence quotient, isn't it? But people hardly know about or talk about the emotional quotient. So this is going to be the flow of the presentation, which I'm going to share. Just a minute, there is some technical challenge. This is not, yeah, correct. You see that I would like to start the session with a quote from Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, our first vice president of the country and the second president of the nation. And he himself was a great academician, and he used to say that true teachers are those who help us think for ourselves. And that is why the influence of a good teacher can never be erased in our society. And an emotionally intelligent teacher can become a guide or a mentor and can make our lives positive and happy and truly enlightening us. In fact, I'm sure that each one of us remember our first teacher. How many of you remember your first teacher, and for what reason you remember? Can you put that in the chat window? How many of us remember our best teacher, our first teachers? Yes, mother. Yes, that is great. Mom, correct. Yeah, Dr. Vaibhav, I remember him for discipline, correct, punctuality and encouraging. And these are the qualities which are there, correct. And you see that the first two responses which I have got, that the first teacher as in mother, Correct. Have you ever thought about that? Why means this question I have asked in various forums also, and 95% cases, 95% cases, people said that mother as an first teacher and a memorable teacher, isn't it? And this always bring a point in my mind that why people are not taking the name of father as in first teacher. Would you like to just unmute and interact?
Sir, maybe we are not that much emotionally attached with our father.
Right. So that the emotional word which is coming there, correct. Now one question I would like to ask further, right, and that will actually help me to understand the entire thing. What is that in mother's behavior or in mother's nature which makes us emotionally connected to her?
More compassionate.
Mother is more compassionate, a powerful word. Compassionate means what? That not only having a passion for self, but having a passion for others. That is why we call it as in compassion. Come means that more than one people when they are there, isn't it? Then we start calling it as in compassion. That thinking for others which is there. Correct. So then the another question comes, don't you think that the father is also very compassionate? Hope my question is clear. Mother is more compassionate, you have said. Don't you think that the father is compassionate? I hope that this question is making you think something. There is a small difference there. And
Father is more disciplined.
More disciplined, okay. Fine. Don't you think mother is also disciplined? Both
Disciplined,
are
but mother gives flexibility.
Yeah. Dr. Ketki is writing there that both are, but the amount of time and involvement of mother into our day-to-day activities is more. That is one reason. But at the same time, you see that the difference is what you know. Mother is expressive and father do not express. It means that the underlying part is what you know. Emotion exists. Emotion exists both in father and mother both, but someone decides to express and someone doesn't decide to express. And that is where you see the real difference starts coming in. Emotionally intelligent people, they do not stop themselves showing their emotions. Whereas those emotionally, these people, correct, like father, you see that the one of the biggest things which we all starts realizing that when we grow up and when we start earning our own livelihood after means coming out of our home, then we start realizing the importance of father. And then we start thinking about that the kind of sacrifices he has done to make us better. And I would say that when I'm talking about this particular aspect, isn't it, I'm trying to now correlate this thing, that the role of teacher as a mother and as a father, what we decide to express and what we do not decide to express, brings this particular thing that teacher or the faculty member need to develop this fine art of expressing emotions in front of their students or not. And this is a point of debate, which I'm sure that during our discussion, it will keep on arising there. Now you see that if we go forward, this is the flow, correct, which I have made for the presentation, like our professional obligation and the challenges faced by the faculty members or the teacher, why emotional intelligence is required and what is emotional intelligence and what it is not, because there are many misconceptions are also around emotional intelligence that we will take care of. Then emotional intelligence framework is how it looks like and what is the action plan correct, which we can talk about. Because you see that some of you have asked that question, that how we can use emotional intelligence to take care of procrastination, isn't it? That also will get addressed here. So you see that the changing role of teacher. Do you agree that the role shift which is taking place now, initially, correct, the role was more teacher centric and there were stable designs of the lectures and other things were there. Now it has moved to the learner centric and it demands for a very flexible process. Otherwise, what used to happen, that I still remember my college days when I was a student, there used to be a 55 minutes lecture, isn't it? Then the teacher used to come up with his notes and whatever he has in his mind to teach, isn't it? And he starts taking the lecture there. And by the 20th minute, isn't it? Either the students who are not interested in the topic starts getting dozing off, isn't it? Or maybe they start scribbling something on the last page of the book, right? And teacher is also not worried whether the students are involved into the lecture or not. But in the last 10, 15, 20 years, you must be seeing a lot of change in the teaching design is also happening. And now in all your faculty programs, isn't it, what they're saying, that your approach needs to be learner centric, means what the learner wants to learn from the lecture, that is very important. I have never seen during my college days that the professors are starting the session that what is the objective of the session. They were never used to write the Bloom's taxonomy that the end of the session you are going to learn this, 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 this. But today you see most of the colleges and the professors, when they are sitting with their teaching material, the auditor asks them that where is the session plan, what are the objectives of the session, at the end of the session what you want the students to remember or learn. Means a pure shift is started happening. Initially it was the teacher direction and the decision, and now it is the learning autonomy which has come. Initially it was purely teacher guidance and teacher was monitoring. Nowadays what has happened, that teacher facilitates, supports and encourages the learning. He invites students to ask questions, isn't it? It is not no more, you see, that those fixed question and answers that are there. Now teachers are encouraged to design the questions which are more application oriented and more project based. Initially it was the passive reception in learning, and now they are calling for the active participation in learning. Learning within the four walls of the classroom have now started moving into the wider social context from the classroom. Knowledge as in given fixed, it is now evolving and created. From the discipline focus, single disciplinary focus, it is now becoming multidisciplinary and the complete education focus. See, when I was in my pharmacy days, B.Pharm or M.Pharm, correct, we have never heard about any personality development classes in our colleges. But you see, nowadays, colleges are keeping a complete training and placement cell, because they say that when the student has to appear in the interview or the campus interviews, he needs to come as an complete groomed personality, not only the academic aspect. Initially, it used to be a linear exposure, and now people are looking for multiple and the divergent exposure. Initially, it was just appraisal of small, you can say, sessionals and other tests, but now it is a continuous assessment which is required. So dear teachers, do you also see these kind of changes really happen in your day-to-day work? A small response in the chat window will always help me to understand
Yes,
that whether we are going in the right direction or not.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Isn't it? And then you see that when we are talking about this particular aspect, isn't it? Then what this is creating, I think my cursor is stopped moving. You see, these are the professional obligations which each one of us, each one of you as a teacher faces now. That professional obligation, we are having professional obligation towards 5, you can say, pentagon, which is there. The first and the foremost is towards the student, isn't it? Second one is towards the higher authorities, because they also want certain expectations from all of us. Correct. We have certain professional obligation towards the parents. Society always look up to us as in the future creator of the mind, isn't it? And the creator of good citizens in the society. At the same time, we are also having the professional obligations towards our own profession. That what are the new tools which are coming into the teaching, which we can adopt, and we can give a better things to our students, isn't it? And this multidimensional aspect of a teacher's role may lead to stress and sometimes feeling of burnt out. Do you agree with this? Because it is not only the teaching which actually bothers us. It is about the authority, parents, expectation from society, expectation from profession, the peer pressure which is there. Oh, I have published only 4 research paper this year, and my peer group has published around 10, 15 research paper. How to do the quality research, isn't it? All these things, and this changing environment and shift from the classroom to virtual has also put a lot of pressure in terms of the pedagogy changes which are taking place. And one thing I'm sure that each one of you will agree, that the new age generation which is coming, it is totally different from our generation. And what they say, that we were the old generation people, and the new generation which is coming, isn't it? That is the generation Z. And this generation Z, their expectation, their way of looking at life is totally different. For us, you see that we used to delay gratification, right? Because we used to be taught about that, believe in the Gyan of Gita, which says, "Tum karm karo, phal apne aap milega, phal ki chinta mat karo." And today, the new age students, they come, and in the first year itself, they ask you a question. Sir, what kind of the opportunities in campus we will get? What are the companies which come in campus? Because I'm more worried about my career. That a student is in the first year itself, he has not known about that what subject he is going to enter into, and what kind of the vast knowledge he is going to get, and based upon that he needs to decide where he want to go in 4 years period of time. But from the day one, he is expecting that I should be placed at a better thing. And new age learners, isn't it, for them, maybe that the classroom lecture or maybe the virtual lecture may not produce that kind of opportunity. He wants that everything, correct, has to be available in a multi-modal way, correct? That the reading material should be available on mobile phone, because 70 to 80% of their learning takes place today from the Google. And this also poses a lot of question on us, that am I satisfied with my role and my job which I am doing? So you can easily understand that this is the plethora of things, right, which each one of us as a faculty member, we come under this. And we have our own personal and the family obligation and the demands. Do you agree with this point, all the audience who are here? Right. So with this particular aspect, uh, uh, I think there is some technical challenge. It is not moving. So I'm just stopping sharing, and once again, I'll start sharing the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is where the point comes, that academic aspect, our subject expertise, we can always deal with. But because of all this, that the plethora of emotions, is it visible to everyone?
No, it is not visible.
Just.
Now it is visible.
So the pressure which is coming from all the aspects, this multidimensional approach, isn't it, is creating certain kind of feeling inside us, isn't it? And many times, believe you me, with the people whom I have interacted, and at the time of preparing this entire course material, I have also gone through the various research paper. Like a good amount of research in the Indian context has also been done, right? Where uh, in the South, a lot of papers have published, correct, where the researchers have tried to find out that the importance of emotional intelligence in the faculty member. And that is a good research paper. In fact, I would like to share that paper with Dr. Hemant also. If any one of you would like to access that paper from him, so you can take it from him. Dr. Hemant, I will share that research paper with you also at the end of the session.
Yes, yes.
Right. So there also they are talking about that the kind of that burnt out feeling sometimes it happens, isn't it? That is calling that emotional intelligence is one thing, correct, where we get the answer there. And why emotional intelligence? Because emotional intelligence is the strongest predictor of the workplace performance. And when I'm saying workplace, isn't it? It is applicable to all the workplace. And it is also found that 90% of the top performers have high emotional intelligence. People with the average intelligence quotient outperform those with highest IQs 70% of the time. And decades of the research now point to emotional intelligence as being the critical factor that sets the star performer apart from the rest of the pack. And this particular word, emotional intelligence, correct, can I'm sure that you know that who is the person who has made emotional quotient or emotional intelligence word very popular. Would you like to type the name of that person? Do you know the name of that person? You can unmute and you can speak also if you don't want to type. The name of the gentleman is Dr. Daniel Goleman, isn't it? Now, Daniel Goleman in 1995, correct, he has published his path-breaking book in the name of Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. And in fact, Time magazine in 1995, correct, they have made this particular topic as then their cover story. And this topic has appeared on the cover page of Time magazine. You can easily understand that the kind of importance which was given to this subject. And though this emotional intelligence, correct, the word was actually first coined by Peter Salovey and John Mayer in their 1990s path-breaking research. But that time it was not quite popular. And Daniel Goleman has actually made it popular. And first time, if you see that, I'm sure that as in faculty, we all are aware about Gardner's multiple intelligence model, isn't it? Where he talks about the verbal intelligence, spatial intelligence, visual intelligence, then your art intelligence, isn't it? Music intelligence. There he was using the eighth kind of intelligence, which he used to call as a social intelligence. And over a period of time, that this social intelligence has converted into the term emotional intelligence, and Daniel Goleman then popularized it. And Daniel Goleman has written at least 6-7 books around this subject. And two of his most popular one, obviously, that first one, that why EQ matter more than IQ, and second one is working with the emotional intelligence. Then you see definition wise, you see emotional intelligence is our ability to recognize and understand emotion in ourselves and others. And it also talks about our ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationship. Now, in the start, one of the participant in this entire session, he has asked that use and misuse of emotions, isn't it? But please understand, for using and misusing anything, we need to understand the consequence, and we need to also understand that how it works. And in emotional intelligence, they generally say that emotions are always present in us. They give a pattern, but it is all about our ability to observe and understand that pattern will help us. Like, for example, I'm sure that you might have come across a certain kind of, you can say, unconscious behavior inside you. How many of you, when you are going to make a presentation to the higher authorities, correct, start feeling anxiety? I think I have asked a wrong question because the complete audience is quite good in making presentations. So have you ever faced any anxiety before making a presentation to the higher authorities?
It is a relevant question.
Yes, correct. Thanks for this. And in fact, you are not the one, correct, who have faced it. Each one of us face the anxiety. And you see that this anxiety, you will be able to find out a pattern. Some people, before going to the stage of talking, they suddenly start feeling thirsty. Their throat starts becoming dry. Now, please try to understand, if as a speaker, if I'm able to find a pattern that before going to the dais, isn't it, I start feeling thirsty or my throat becomes dry, isn't it? If I understand this, I will always keep the water bottle or maybe some kind of arrangement for me on the lecture stand by asking the organizer there, because I am aware about my emotion, and as soon as this thirst is quenched, I am able to focus on my presentation. This is a small example which I can give you, that if we are aware about that what is causing the anxiety and what is the connection of this anxiety with my physiology. And Daniel Goleman talks about this particular aspect, and he says that any kind of emotions is having a physiological effect in our body, and we need to understand that what it is. And if we understand that, we can master it, we can use it for our own benefit. So at this moment, dear colleagues, any question as of now? I'll continue with presentation. Dr. Vaibhav, I think it is not moving. Once again, it is giving me some trouble.
Okay, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
And this is the difference between IQ and EQ. And EQ is sometimes is said as an emotional intelligence. And you see, our expertise comes from our intelligence quotient, that what you bring to work. And EQ, that how you make the most of both your expertise and your personality, and personality, who you are at work. And that is why you see that the connection between the expertise and EQ is overall our soft skill areas. So if these three, you can say, domain which we take and we create a Venn diagram, so at the intersection, you will find that a truly emotionally intelligent person comes into the picture. And that is why you see that components of workplace leadership, if you see, technical skills, very important. Cognitive skills, they are also important. But if technical and cognitive skill, this both are there and emotional intelligence is not present there, we will not achieve the kind of success which we can achieve. And that is why the third component comes into the picture, that is emotional intelligence. And through research, it has been found that emotional intelligence is at least 2 times more important than technical and cognitive skills for job at all levels. See how often you have come across in your own profession, correct, come across people who may not be very technical expert or the cognitive skills they have, but they are very good at public dealing. They are very good in handling the large crowds. You will start seeing that they start getting the higher responsibilities in the overall professional arena. And that is why it is said that emotional intelligence is at least 2 times more important. And of the people in leadership position whose career get derailed, 3 out of 4 are derailed for the reason related to EI, emotional intelligence. People come up to the level, correct, of the highest level, isn't it? But what happens, because they are unable to understand the emotion of themselves and others, and that becomes the failure of their cause of failure from the leadership position. I would like to give you 2 examples here. That one of the famous, you can say, coach, his name is Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. He used to say that as we grow in our careers, our issues are not technical, our issues are behavioral. Because once you start going up to the position of professor emeritus, on those kind of the layers which are there in your own profession, isn't it? That time it has been said that how good you are handling the situations, how good you are handling with the different people from the different domains who are coming and interacting with you. Second, I'm sure that in the last 1 month, if you are following cricket, you might have seen that what has happened to Virat Kohli. First, correct, he said that I'm stepping down from the captaincy of one-day cricket, isn't it? Then T20, right? And then the test captaincy also, he has come out. He has stepped down from the test captaincy. You remember that last day, or means the penultimate day of the last test match between South Africa and India, where India was at a position to win the test match by the 3rd day. But on the 4th day evening, that the entire game was changed. And Virat Kohli was actually shouting near to the stump mic. And that is where you see a very famous quotation was said by one of the Indian player, and he said, coming up to the top is easy, but sustaining at the top requires emotional intelligence. And that is why it is said, up to 90% of our success as a leader is not determined by academic standing, stature, or IQ alone, but it is based on emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence and what it is not? Emotional intelligence is all about utilizing your emotions to determine the right response at the right time with the right person. And what it is not? Most of the time people feel that if we are just nice to people, then we will consider ourselves as an emotionally intelligent person. No, my dear friends, emotional intelligence is not just being nice. It is about being assertive. It is about that the thing which you are liking, you should appreciate, and the things which you are not liking, correct, you should be able to articulate and say in a manner where you do not hurt the feeling of others, but at the same time, you should be able to make your point there. Emotional intelligence is not about suppressing emotions. It is all about modulating emotions. Emotional intelligence is not about giving free rein to emotion. And emotional intelligence is not about attempting to be a robot. And at this particular moment, correct, I would like to just narrate a small story that what emotional intelligence is not and what emotional intelligence is. How many of you have heard about the Zen masters in Japanese way of life? Zen masters are the people, correct, who are considered to be knowing all kind of a thing and very humble in nature. They are the life gurus. So what happened, that there was a samurai in Japan, and samurai are basically a warrior race who protect the throne of the king there, and they are married to the kings there. So one time, this one samurai went to a Zen master and he asked Zen master, can you tell me what is the difference between heaven and hell? स्वर्ग और नरक के बीच में क्या फर्क है? What is the difference between the heaven and the hell? All of a sudden, this Zen master, who was considered to be very polite, correct, very understanding in nature, he looked at the samurai and he said, "Don't ask me such foolish questions because you are a murderer. You kill people and you are asking me this question that what is heaven and hell? Get out from my monastery." And as soon as the Zen master has said these words, now samurai being from a warrior race, correct, he could not digest this insult. So all of a sudden, from his scabbard, apna myan mein se, he has taken out his sword and he warned the Zen master, I will behead you because of your this impertinent behavior. मैं आपके इस बदतमीजी वाले बिहेवियर के लिए आपकी गर्दन उड़ा सकता हूं. And as soon as he started attacking the Zen master said, "This is hell." What the Zen master said to his behavior? This is hell. As soon as this word reaches to the ear of samurai realized something and he kneeled down on the floor and he said, "Zen master, forgive me for my impulse and this behavior towards you." And then Zen master said, "This is heaven." Now, what is the point which the Zen master is trying to bring here? Zen master is trying to bring the point, you will be able to understand yourself better and your emotion when you are aware what is happening in your mind. What is that thinking, feeling, and the behavior you are going through? Because it is said, as a human being, our thought process are giving rise to our emotions, and these emotions are actually compelling us to take action. And we ourselves are our best of the friend, and we ourselves are our worst of the enemy, the kind of thought which we entertain. Now, I'm taking forward this story a little bit, and I would like to ask you a question. If you would like to answer by unmuting yourself, or maybe in the chat window, you're free to do that. Now, imagine one thing. When this samurai, he jumped on the Zen master with his sword to behead him. And imagine that he could not have listened the word of Zen master that this is hell. What could be the consequence? Hota kya wahan pe? Is the question clear, the August gathering of audience? Because I need the response of this question. Dr. Shinde, I am not able to see the chat window message. So could you just read out for me?
Yeah, Zen master got killed.
Yes, Zen master got killed. And once the Zen master get killed, generally it happens with us or not, that in the fire of rage, we take some action, and then all of a sudden that emotions comes down, and then we start looking into the action which we had taken. And that is the moment, suppose the samurai starts thinking, "Arey, Zen master ne bola kya tha mere ko? Arey, he warned me about that this is hell." And after this, if that could have happened, isn't it? Would you see, would you imagine that the kind of repentance, जिसको हम guilt feeling बोलते हैं ना, isn't it? That guilt feeling, what do you think, could have lingered in that samurai for long or not? अगर वो घटना घट जाती तो. And how many of us correct, in our life, in our day-to-day function, come across this kind of situation when on impulse we do something, and once that moment is gone, we start realizing, अरे यार ऐसा कैसे हो गया मेरे से, ये मुझसे नहीं होना चाहिए. And this is a first sign, my dear friends, which talks about that still there is a lot of work which I need to do on my self-awareness level. I'm sure that you guys are getting. Yes, Dr. Amol Borade, you are saying that King Ashoka is a great example because after Kalinga War, what he has gone through, that was a repentance, correct? That was not much of emotional intelligence, because you also need to understand that King Ashoka we always see as a great person. But I was reading somewhere, and I'm sure that as an academician, this will bring some kind of a critical thinking in your mind, that after the Kalinga War, right, Samrat Ashoka, he was totally devastated, correct? He was looking into the carnage which was taken place, and because of that, actually he stopped spending money on the army. It was good for the first 200, 300 years. But over a period of time, it started building the weakness into the system to protect ourselves. And that is what this emotional intelligence says. Emotional intelligence is not just being nice. Emotional intelligence is not just suppressing emotions. Emotional intelligence is more about being assertive. And I'm sure that somewhere you might have read the quotation from our learned ex-president, late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, when he has said that we want to become powerful so that we can live in peace. Hope you are with me with this statement, Dr. Borade. And yes, Dr. Pawan, that many political leaders has EI. And I tell you, not only the political leader, I tell you the best of the teachers, if you start analyzing, you have come across, isn't it? They are the great example of good emotional intelligence. See, why a teacher becomes so popular among the students? And why there are certain teachers, isn't it, who are having best of the cutting edge knowledge about the technology, but they are unable to develop a long-term relationship with the students?
Sir, he is not able to express himself in front of others.
Yeah, that is where that expression becomes important. Yeah. Thanks for the response, sir. So now going forward, now you see that emotions have taught the mankind to reason. And I'm sure that we all are aware about that, how the brain has evolved over a period of time. So just look at this particular point, isn't it? And from our anatomy classes, we all remember that how our brain looks like. Now, in the evolution of the brain, the first part of the brain which got developed was the reptilian complex, isn't it? Where the fight or the flight scenarios are located, and all our survival instincts which are there, which is there, correct? Then over a period of time, our middle brain, isn't it, or the limbic system has started developing, which has become the site of emotion. And in the last few thousand years, the latest part of the brain layer which got developed is the neocortex, where the reasoning and other things starts happening, isn't it? So this is just for the academic purpose, isn't it? And what is the relation with the emotional intelligence which I'm trying to bring in here? You see, though the development of the brain has taken place from the natural instincts to the emotion to the reasoning, but it works in the opposite direction. Whenever there is any kind of exchange is happening, we try to first bring the reason through the facts and other things. And if the person is unable to get convinced with the reason or the fact, don't you think that we starts bringing the emotion there? And हम क्या बोलते हैं? अरे Dr. Hemant, you are not getting agreed. I'm just giving an example. Dr. Hemant, can I take your name, please, for this example? Dr. Hemant, can I take your name for this example?
Yes, you can take.
Like a lot of facts and other things, a researcher has brought in front of Hemant, and he said, these are the facts and the findings, correct? And I want to publish this. And Dr. Hemant says, no, there are certain changes if this is required, isn't it? And then the person starts telling the emotional aspect. Sir, you see, I have put my 4 years of hard work into this. If this does not get published, sir, then I think, sir, another 1 year will go into this particular thing. Don't you think that from the fact the person has started now using his emotions also? And it is the emotion which appeals to more people. And if that emotion is also not working, then people do come into the threatening mode where they say, either you take it or leave it. So hope you're understanding that the development of the brain has taken place from a reptilian to the limbic or the middle brain or the neocortex. But you see, it works in the opposite direction from the neocortex, means their reasoning, to emotion, and then the take it or leave it kind of a thing. And in the industry, you see that how this particular phenomena is used in all the advertisement you see, isn't it? Reasoning takes back seat and the emotion takes the front seat. Most of the decisions in our life, around 90% of the decision in our life, we take based upon the emotions. And that is why it is said, whenever there is a fight between the reason, logic, and the emotion, it is the emotion which is always going to win over the logic. In 1920s, correct, in New York, there was a doctor, a physician, isn't it? His name was Dr. Emil Coe. And you see that I'm talking about 1920s. It is as old as time when even the paracetamol was not discovered. Paracetamol was discovered in 1925. So you can easily understand not much of the therapeutic options were not available in front of those time doctors, isn't it? So Dr. Emil Coe, he was getting the same kind of patients what his other colleagues were getting. And the rate of recuperation, isn't it, of Dr. Emil Coe was highest among his peer group of doctors. So all of his fraternity, people have started asking Dr. Emil Coe, see, we are also getting the same kind of patient. We are also prescribing the same kind of medicines which are available to them. But why it is so? What is that thing which you do differently? What is that thing which you do differently, which is making your patients to get better than our patients? Your percentage of patients getting better is higher than us. What is that which you do? And you know what Dr. Emil Coe has said to his fellow colleagues? He said, whenever I prescribe anything to my patient, apart from that, I tell them that every morning when you are getting up, go in front of the mirror, isn't it? And give a pat to yourself in the back 3 times and repeat what I'm saying to you. And he used to say, I am getting better day by day. Are you able to now correlate? Even disease is the state of mind. And that is why in pharmacy and your all experiment, you compare the drug with a placebo. Because it is the emotions which becomes very important for the people. And 95% of the decisions, as I have shared with you, more than 90% is basically correct because of emotional intelligence. Now, dear colleagues, can you write down in the chat window, right, that what are the emotions you know? Can you name your emotions? What are the emotions which you know? Sadness, okay, fine. Happiness, great. Happy, joy, anger, happy, sad, anger, Dr. Amol, yes. Excited, great. If empathy is a process, sir, that is nice, Dr. Latif, that is nice. Guilt and resentment, shame, yes. Now, if I ask you the pointers which you have given here, can you classify them that what are the positive emotions and what are the negative emotions? What are the positive emotions? Dr. Amol, this anger is not a positive emotion. It is a survival mechanism, basically. Happy is the positive emotion, anger is negative. Okay, I got it now. Anger, you have put a minus there. So anger is negative, happiness is positive. Happy, joy, positive. The emotions which decreases our working efficiency are negative. In fact, on this definition, we can have a small debate also, Supriya, because emotions are good for life. Only the thing is, all positive, they are lovely, great, Kirti Patil, that you have written. All emotions, if they are in moderation and constructive in their outcome, absolutely right. Here, I will spend around 1 minute time here now. You see that all the happy emotions are having the calming and the elevating impact in our physiology. And all the negative emotions, correct, they have the various, you can say, changes in our body. Like, for example, anger is a negative emotion, isn't it? Whenever we become angry, can you see that what kind of the physiological change starts happening in our body? As soon as the thought of anger comes in, isn't it? Anything which is irritating you, isn't it? Then the feeling is generated, and this feeling is converted into the emotion of anger. And what is the outcome? All of a sudden, the entire heart rate starts increasing because epinephrine and non-epinephrine has started releasing now. So heartbeat has increased. More blood is being supplying to the organs. Now, blood supply from the upper extremities starts going into your other extremities, that you will start clenching your hands because of the anger. At the same time, that your jaw muscles will start becoming stiff. Even if you want to express something in the words, isn't it? You will start stammering there because you're not getting the right word to speak. Why not getting the right word? Because blood from the brain has gone into these extremities. And then you are prepared either to shout, hit, or move away from that particular place. Just a single emotion, you see that how it is changing your entire physiology. And that is why what people do say that if you are self-aware and if you start seeing these particular changes inside you, you can use this negative emotion very positively for your own favor. When you're feeling happy, like for example, if I show you a beautiful natural picture and you like that natural picture, isn't it? Where the clean blue sky is there with little bit of white clouds, isn't it? And a beautiful, you can say, that waterfall is there across the landscape. That lush green carpet is there of the grass, isn't it? And sun is rising from there, and entire sky, isn't it? That is becoming little bit orange hue is there. All of a sudden, this picture starts creating a calming effect in us. Our heart rate starts becoming little bit slowing down. Every emotion is having an impact on our physiology. And what is the best thing to become emotionally intelligent is becoming aware of these changes and giving name to those emotions. And good news is that what I was talking about, that emotional intelligence can be developed. And this is what which we have discussed about, that emotion is leading to the behavior and behavior is leading to our performance. Emotional intelligence can be developed. It is all about what people feel before they think and act. It is possible to change people's responses to the feelings. And these changes have a positive impact on individual and the team behavior. And new behavior improves the job performance. And this is what correct we have talked about. It is just about a complete study which talks about that 90% of the top performers are high in EQ. 20% of the bottom performers are high in EQ. Accounts for a little effort grows a lot, account for almost 60% of the success at work. People with high EQ on average make $29,000 more per year. It means high emotional intelligence will make you earn better as well. And this is the framework what Daniel Goleman has given. And he said there are distinctly two parties there. One is the self and second is the others. In the personal competency, self-awareness and self-management, these are the two areas which are important. And in the social competence, it is the social awareness and the relationship management. That is the another two part of the framework on the other aspect. Now, when we talk about the self-awareness, I'm sure that each one of you are aware that till now that being aware about that what is happening inside me, the ability to recognize and understand your own moods, emotions, and the drives, as well as their effect on others. Correct. What are the hallmarks of becoming high self-aware people? High self-aware people are self-confident. They always do their realistic self-assessment and they do not mind laughing on themselves also. Otherwise, you will find the people, right? They are happy in making joke of others, but when somebody is making or picking them for certain fun, they start feeling bad about that situation. They become very, you can say, angry with that situation. And it tells about that the person is having a low self-awareness level. Hallmark of self-awareness level is a high self-confidence. The person is always ready to take up challenge. You must have come across in your various kind of teachers meeting and other things that some people, as soon as the authority throws a challenge, some people start with the skeptical attitude and they start with, I don't think that it will work. And there is certain set of people, isn't it? What they say? They say, it's a new thing. At least let us make an honest attempt to do this. Now, both the people are seeing the same situation from different aspects because one person is more self-aware and he knows that the thing can be done in a proper manner. Challenge is an identity of youth. No, sir. Challenge can be an identity of any age. What do you say? A person at the age of 70 is starting a business and becoming multi-billionaire. Don't you think that for him, age is just a number? Taking challenge is a state of mind. It is nothing to do with the age. We have n number of examples. And I tell you, in the organization where I am working, the founding chairman, though he is no more now, correct, 2 years back he died, he established this company when he was 53 years old. Can you imagine? At the age of 53 years, when many of us starts planning about our retirement, he said that I will start business.
Kritiki madam, you can ask the question. Okay, no problem.
हेमंत सर थोड़ा सा मेरे को टाइम का थोड़ा बोल दीजिएगा because this is one of my favorite topic. So I need to,
around 15 minutes are remaining.
Sure.
We have to finish up to 11:30.
Sure.
Maybe 5 minutes we can
Correct.
get for the question answers. So,
Correct.
Okay.
Now, how to increase the self-awareness among ourselves? Correct, because I want to make it a little action-oriented also. Start observing the ripple effect of your own emotions. Correct. Visit that what are your value systems are, because values are the beliefs which guides our decisions in our life. Correct. Keep on checking on yourself. Know who and what pushes your buttons. As I have given you an example, that before a presentation, if I start feeling thirsty, isn't it? So maybe that presentation is creating an anxiety in me, isn't it? That is my button. And what helps me to control that? Having a sip of water makes me to control that. Maybe that someone in your fraternity, correct, whom you see and then you start feeling little bit preconceived notion about that person, right? So this will help you to understand, let me now keep my preconceived notion at bay for some minute. Let me understand what he's trying to say. Correct. Stop and ask yourself why you do the things you do. Like one of our participants has asked that how to handle procrastination, isn't it? And I tell you, dear colleague, dear friend, that we do not procrastinate those things which we like. We always get the time for doing that. We generally start procrastinating those things which others are demanding from us and we do not like that. And this is an example where self-awareness needs to come, because we need to ask a question to ourselves that the other person who is demanding this, isn't it? If I do, what will be the consequence? And if I do not do, what will be the consequence to my reputation and my relationship with him? If not doing the things is generating the negative consequence, decide yourself and do that particular thing. Automatically that procrastination part will go away. Because many times as an adult, we commit a mistake. We teach people that every action leads to a consequence, but we forget ourselves that if we procrastinate, it is also leading to some kind of consequence. And in the self-awareness, one thing is very important: be open and take feedback from your trusted people who tells you that where you are right and where you are wrong. It is just like that, creating your self-awareness partner. Like Sachin Tendulkar doesn't know that where he is committing mistake, so he requires a coach there. Correct. He pays money to the coach and he tells, you observe me playing and tell me where I am committing the mistake, means feedback. Also tell me that where I am good at. Second part in the self is, after the self-awareness, the self-management. And self-management is the ability to control or redirect your disruptive impulses and mood, the propensity to suspend the judgment, and it always makes you to think before you act. That is about the self-management. And now, dear colleague, dear audience, you can correlate that Zen master and the samurai story. It was an example of self-management. And hallmark is what? The self-management among the people, correct, who have a high self-management, they display trustworthiness and integrity. They are very comfortable with ambiguity, isn't it? They know that there cannot be a right or wrong kind of a thing. Things cannot be binary in our life, isn't it? There has to be some way to find out a middle path. And people who are able to managing self properly, they are always open to change. Like you might have seen during this last 2 years period of time, when the classes have gone from face to face to the virtual, certain people within a week period of time, they might have learned that how to use Zoom and other things. And there could be a group of people, correct, who were say telling, "Arey, virtual mein koi padhata hai kya?" Isn't it? And those people were very late to change, but ultimately they need to change. Self-management strategies: take control of your self-talk. In the self-management, it is said that self-talk is very important, because we ourselves talk to ourselves most in a day. Am I right in saying so? Because when I am not speaking, I am talking to myself. In around 14 hours time, which is a wakeful time, isn't it? I may be interacting with other people, say around half an hour to 1 hour period of time, but means that other 13 hours, it is the self-talk which is going on. And it is said, always be mindful and careful when you are talking to yourself, and be mindful of what you are talking to yourself. Always talk positive to yourself. Whenever you are feeling anger or your emotions are becoming negative, it is said that count to 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and by the time you reaches to 1, isn't it? Automatically, you have suspended the judgment, and that negative emotion is subsided. Because it is said, it takes just 6-second time. How much time? Just 6-second time to reach the impulses to the limbic system. And in this 6 second, people may suffer from emotional hijacking. But if we are able to our anger for the 6-second time, isn't it? We will be able to take ourselves. Smile and laugh more, because it is said smile generates endorphin and the happy hormones. And when you're smiling and laughing, other people also starts becoming showing their lighter mood. Then the third thing in the framework is improving your social awareness, that is ability to understand the emotions of the people whom you deal with. And hallmark of a high socially aware people, that they are able to empathize with others. Now, meaning of empathize is putting yourself in another person's shoes, right? How he feels, you feel that, but do not exchange the shoes. Come back in your own shoes, right? It also helps you to understand that what is your organization is like, means who are powerful, who are less powerful. That also you can easily understand if you are socially aware. You can understand that how the decisions are made. Those people who are highly social aware, they have a service orientation. They always look themselves as an instrument of service to the society. They are always ready to help others. And few of the activities, correct, which we can do for the social awareness increasing: greeting people by name, remembering people by name. It is said that the most sweetest word in the world is your own name to your ears. So if somebody calls you by your name and your PhD, like your doctor, so and so, correct, it automatically generates a good feeling about yourself. Keep on watching your body language, because it is said what your mind is thinking and what your tongue is speaking, if there is no coherence between that, your body becomes uncomfortable. And that is where people starts noticing that there is a gap between what you are thinking and what you are saying. Socially aware people, they have got this a great tendency of appearing confident because they speak their mind. Highly socially aware people, they live in movement. They are not anxious, they are not worried. Because anxiety is always related with the futuristic action, that what is going to happen next. Worry is always about the past. And it is said that past I cannot change and future I do not know. Only moment that is important for me is the present. So start living in the present. That is a sign of high social awareness. Practice the art of listening. Listening is not hearing, correct, that you all know. Then the fourth aspect is the relationship management, and that is about proficiencies in managing relationship and building the network. Because it is said, we all are equal in our IQs, but our networking skills take us to the places. And ability to find a common ground and building rapport with people. And what are the hallmark of the people who are good at the relationship management? They are very effective in leading change. How the leaders are arisen. Leaders are not coming from the position. Leaders are those people who takes initiative. Those people who are good at relationship management, isn't it? They always take initiative. They are highly persuasive in nature. They are not discouraged by when somebody is saying no to their proposal. They will try another approach to get that thing done or getting yes from others. And service orientation I have already discussed with you. And you see that what are the few strategies which will help us to master the relationship management is always be open and curious. See, never appear in front of someone from an expert mindset. Because see, in the profession or the age which we are in, generally this thought comes that I am an expert. See, as soon as this thought comes in that I am an expert, we stop learning. We stop becoming curious. We ask less questions, or the questions which we are asking are just to confirm what we know. And in relationship management, if you are not interested about the other person, the sustainability of relationship becomes a question mark. When people are giving you the feedback, take the feedback in a right spirit. Build trust with the other people, because trust, the best definition which I have heard ever is that trust is a belief. You cannot see it, but there is a magic in this feeling. And it is said that trust is a belief which is based upon the past experiences and hope for the future. If in the past this person has helped me, I am sure that in future also he is going to help me. Is just an example of trust. Always acknowledge the other person's feeling. Yes, I can understand that what you are feeling right now. Like in a lighter note, that we have started our session at 10 o'clock and it is almost now 11:25. So I can easily understand your feeling that you are into listening mode for 1 hour 25 minutes. So it is a signal for me also now to stop after two more slides. Tackle a tough conversation, isn't it? Enter into those conversations or those topics which people are unable to discuss openly, because this tough conversation help us to maintain the relationship. Remember the little things that pack a punch. When people are revealing certain things in front of you, isn't it? Keep those things in mind, and maybe after 6 months or other time when you are meeting them, isn't it? Recall those conversations by bringing those examples. Then people understand, yes, how important that fellow is in your life. Research shows that people improve their emotional intelligence most when when the following conditions are present. They have a strong motivation to learn or change. They practice the new behavior consistently, and they seek the feedback on their own behavior. Right. So I will be sharing my presentation with Dr. Hemant also, and there this action plan you can pick up. that pick up an emotional intelligence skill which you want to work on, right? That the framework which we have seen. And I have shared some of the strategies also with you, correct? So pick up 2-3 strategies from there. Among your family members or among your friends, correct? You choose your emotional intelligence mentor and tell them, this is the behavior which I want to change in myself. So please help me in changing that. So with this, correct, my presentation gets over. Now I open the session for inviting the questions. So Dr. Vaibhav Sinde, this is from my side.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you,
stopping
sir.
sharing the screen.
Thank you. Now the session is open for questions. Please.
Hello, sir. This is
Please.
Ketki Patel. I want to ask Barkur sir a question. Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Ketki, you're audible.
Yes, sir. Sir, I want you to ask any reference or a lucid book where we can get the simple steps to improve our EQ. Different TED Talks and kind of audio visuals I have been visiting too, but I just wanted to have a hard copy of a very good book which can help me to check my activities and introspect. So please give any book that you found it to be good.
Sure, Ketki. Thank you very much for asking this question, Ketki. Ketki, you see that Daniel Goleman, correct? He is an authority in emotional intelligence. So I would suggest 2 books from him, not one. The first book is Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. Correct. This is a foundational book. And the beauty of this book, Ketki, is that maybe that around the first few chapters, correct? He has explained that what emotions are basically, but in the appendix aspect, he has given you the tools also that how to use the tools for developing the emotional intelligence. In the second book from the same author is Working with Emotional Intelligence.
Okay, sir.
So these are the 2 books, correct? And see, I personally believe in, and as you know that everybody is having a different learning style. So my learning style is basically visual. So unless I read something, correct, I do not understand. So for me, that reading is the best way of learning. Otherwise, you can also visit to various YouTube and the TEDx talks as well, correct? There also you will get plenty of material. But my first recommendation would be that first you go through the topic and then you start looking into the videos.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
And sir, I had written a question in the chat box that you told about an example where a person in his 70s started or had a thought of starting a business. So this kind of enthusiasm and zeal that few people have in their lives, despite they face many challenges like we all do. So how can we inculcate in us this positivity, enthusiasm, and be consistent with it?
Brilliant question, Ketki. Ketki, just if you refer that in the framework of emotional intelligence, there is one thing which is known as your self-management, isn't it?
Yes.
You remember that particular means
Box.
the second block from the top, isn't it? It was the self-management, isn't it? And in the
Right.
self-management, correct, I have given the strategy, and that strategy was your self-talk. Because these people, correct, who are starting the things irrespective of their age, taking the initiative, these people, they never give up. And these things actually comes from within. See, if somebody's self-image or the self-concept in psychology, these are the 2 words which are very important. That is self-esteem, self-concept, and the self-image. This is all an outcome of that how I see myself. See, if I see myself that I am capable, this thought keeps on moving in my mind that I am capable, and this thought actually gets converted into the action. Because we as an organism, we follow a simple pattern: thinking, feeling, emotions, and action. So if my thinking about myself is that, yes, I can do anything, obviously my actions also start reflecting upon that. Now just imagine and change this. If a person who is suffering from doubt and he is saying, अरे मैं सक्सेसफुल होऊंगा कि नहीं होऊंगा, ये काम मैं शुरू करूं कि नहीं करूं, अगर गलत हो जाएगा तो यार लोग मजाक उड़ाएंगे मेरा. अभी देखो ये जैसे चलना शुरू हुआ, what is the emotion which is coming? Emotion is a doubt. No matter how capable he is, but this doubt will stop him to take initiative. और ऐसे लोग लाइफ में क्या करते हैं पता है आपको? वो जब दूसरा सक्सेसफुल हो जाता ना तो क्या बोलते हैं, यार मेरे भी दिमाग में यही आइडिया था, मैं भी यही करना चाहता था, पर पता नहीं यार मेरा हालात ठीक नहीं था.
Very right, sir.
So hope you are getting my point. I have answered your question that the self management, the self talk is very important in this.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, generally we all teachers in academic, we give more importance on theory, right? So in case of whenever we are interacting with any student or within short span of time, you are also taking interviews. So how you determine that the next person is emotionally strong within few minutes or interaction?
That is a very difficult question to answer, Dr. Bevo. But the point is what you know, that in emotional intelligence, that it starts appearing in your disposition. Like for example, the first thing in the interview, what happens, you know, as you are a training and placement coordinator, so you must have conducted many things. You must have trained the teachers on taking interview as well,
Yes.
right? The foremost thing is that in first 7 to 14 seconds, the person starts creating his first impression. And please mind it, in this 7 to 14 seconds, there is no verbal communication which is taking place.
Okay.
It is our persona, isn't it, which gives a positive signal in the mind of that the interviewer. Yes, this is someone whom I would like to interact with. And that is where you see that self-management concept once again coming into the picture, isn't it, and the self-awareness.
Okay.
Because see, as a person, if I'm finding that Dr. Bevo Shinde, whom I'm going to meet today, is going to bring change in my life today. Obviously, the level of confidence and looking forward for that meeting makes me more open to you. So this is how correct I would say that this 14 seconds are very important, where the person appearance is there. Then rest of the things depends upon those standard questions, that how the person is giving the answer. Like Dr. Weber Shinde, you must be aware about, as you have talked about the interview, that nowadays people are using a START technique for asking questions now.
Okay.
That tell me the situation, what was the task which you were doing, what actions you have taken, and what is the outcome. Now, questions to answer to these questions, only those people can give who have actually gone through these situations. And that is why for an interview, this is another tool to see whether the person is bluffing or he is telling the right incidences there.
Okay. Okay, sir. Yeah.
And for high level positions, you know, a lot of psychometric tests and other things are there, but those are the costly thing. That is why in the corporate, when a high level position, promotion and other things are there, and I'm sure in the academics also you must be doing that the psychometric tests are done, like Hogan test is there, isn't it? So it gives you a complete personality profiling and it helps in taking the decisions.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. A very good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, actually, I want to ask you one thing. that I had a student, I will not disclose his name, but when I saw him first time, he was actually, when he was interacting, he was kind of shivering and he used to little bit hesitate to talk. So from his body language only, I thought that something is different. Something is in his mind. So once I called him, I interacted with him. I made him comfortable. I asked him whether what is the problem? Why you are so much frightened, or why you are anxious always? So he had actually a history of his childhood that he said that, ma'am, actually he was first of all not opening up. It took me a lot of time to connect with him and to make him open up. So when he opened up, he said that actually in his family something happened, and all the blame was given up on him. Emotionally, actually some financial loss occurred, and all the family members, the parents were, they told that because of you it happened, and they used to tell him every day, or they used to treat him like that. So he was very much frightened of everything. So he used to always be in a situation that someone will blame me, someone will tell that you have done this. So this was the case. So I actually tried to manipulate him. I told him that no, this is not the case. You should. And he was on a pills. He used to take anti-anxiety pills. So that was a very. He was of 20 years old and he was taking anxiety pills. So that was a very bad part, which I thought. And I tried to really communicate him. I used to every day. I used to take a talk with him about these things, and I would try to help him to come out from this. So now he's in higher class. So now he's quite stable. And now whenever he comes, he always says that, madam, I have not talked this situation to anyone, and no one has ever asked me about what has happened or something like that. So this was one example, but actually there are lots of students in our class, but each one it is very difficult to identify this kind of situation. So how to do this? How I can identify that this child is having a problem? Something is there that he can't explain to anyone. He can't share with anyone. So that confidence he should have first of all. Emotionally connect. You should feel him. So this is my question actually.
Thank you, Dr. Vishali, for bringing this example, and you have narrated a great example where a concerned teacher about the student, isn't it? If he starts making the person to speak out, correct, it can open the plethora of potential and the opportunity for the other person. Now, coming to your question, and I definitely, and I appreciate Dr. Vishali, your concern for this. And the question which you have asked is that what should we do so that we can help more number of students in our class by having this kind of conversation, right? This is the question, Vishali, you want to ask?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, see, what is my suggestion, correct, which we normally do in our corporates also, correct? If it is possible for you, if time permits for that. Can you create in a class of around 60 students must be in your class, or how many students are in your class in general? 60, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So you can create a kind of a schedule where in a week time, your 6 days time, correct? Daily, is it possible for you that around 4 or 5 students, you can spend 5 minutes time to talk to them, where they can come to you, isn't it? And they can share that what they are going through right now, and you can help them. That is one thing. Second thing, also I would suggest that as a faculty member, try to do some certification and the expertise, bring some expertise into this particular aspect. Because see, it is when you're listening to the emotions of others, isn't it? You need to be having a very good counseling skills inside you.
Yeah, definitely.
Because otherwise it is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because if you are not able to counsel the person on a topic properly, it may aggravate his situation as well.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be that first create some kind of mastery over it, isn't it?
Okay.
And then start devoting at least 5-10 minutes to those students where they can come up and they can talk. And see, one of the predictor you can easily understand when you are taking their sessionals and other things, the people who are not doing well, isn't it? You can easily understand that the student has spent money and he has come to the study, but he's not doing well. Those are people, correct, who requires help from teachers like you.
Yes.
Where motivation and other things are required. But
Yeah.
my simple suggestion is that budget a time for it, because it is not a thing, correct, which can be done in a tick mark basis, because it can make or
No.
break somebody's future, and build an expertise over it.
Yes. Okay. Thank
And
you.
in fact, in Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TIS, they have one course on the counseling skills. So that also you can look at it.
Okay. Sir. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. If there are no more questions, we will come to the final conclusion part.
Yes, sir.
So, on behalf of our college and university, I am really thankful to Dr. Sushil. Actually, the topic is really in context with all of us. That is self-awareness, self-management. Most of us are not familiarized with this concept, EQ and IQ. But sir, you have really explained this in very proper manner. And now we come to 4 pillars or 4 aspects, that is so self-awareness, management, then we have to go for relationship management, and then finally it come to social awareness. So I think this was one of the best EQ talk which we have come across, and the question answer session was also really effective, and I'm really looking forward that all teachers will use this technique in order to have better dissemination of our knowledge to our student. And so I would like to conclude this session with again big thank you. Thank you, Sushil sir, for coming and gracing here. And we will really need you in future to train our student also, because training and placement, so grooming, and this is one of the important aspects. Most of the students have very good fundamental, but they are not good in emotionally and communicating the knowledge. So thank you, sir. And we are really looking forward to have a kind interaction with you. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vaibhav, and thank you very much for this virtual bouquet, and
Yeah.
thanks for the certificate. And I really enjoyed my talk. So once again, I would like to thank to the chair, Dr. Vaibhav, and to Dr. Hemant for reaching out so that we could forge a wonderful relationship for future. Thank you, Dr. Hemant.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.